AG's Chambers receives report on Tahfiz fire. For charge over Abu Sayyaf links. Good evening. Thanks for joining us, and you're watching the evening's bulletin of News on 2 with me, Mohammed Amin Carlos. Now, the police have sent a report on their investigation of the Darul Quran Ittifaqiyah tragedy to the Attorney General's chambers today. The Bukit Aman Criminal Investigation Department Director, Dato Sri Wan Ahmad Najmuddin Mohammed, said investigation was made under Section 302 of the Penal Code, read together with Section 435 of the same Act for mischief by fire.
Terima kasih kepada saudara-saudari daripada media. Kes Tahfiz ni kita dah forward kertas siasatan kepada pihak peguam negara dan menunggulah arahan selanjutnya daripada pejabat peguam negara. Our part kita dah forward. Kita read together. 302 read together with kianat dengan yes. So kita tunggulah arahan daripada pihak AG Chambers apa bentuk tindakan pertuduhan ke atas mereka itu.
Dato Sri Wan Ahmad said this during a working visit to the Terengganu Police Headquarters in Kuala Terengganu today. On September 14, 21 students and 2 wardens of the Darul Quran Ittifaqiyah Tahfiz School perished in an early morning fire. Following the incident, police arrested 7 boys aged between 11 and 18 to assist in the investigation of the fire, which was established as arson.
Well, meanwhile, the Fire and Rescue Department requires at least a month to conduct checks on all registered Tahfiz schools nationwide. Its Director General, Dato Wan Muhammad Nur Ibrahim, said the department will also provide feedback to the Cabinet from time to time on the matter.
Dato Wan Muhammad added that at this time the department was having difficulties in obtaining information to help identify which Tahfiz schools were not registered with the Education Ministry.
Yang tak berdaftar ni kita kena maklumatnya tak ada pada kita. Yang berdaftar ni ada maklumat, kita boleh cari dia punya ada alamat dan sebagainya. Yang tak berdaftar ni kita paksa kena cari. Mungkin kita minta juga orang ramai yang mengetahui ada tahfiz, mak tahfiz di kawasan mereka untuk memaklum kepada kita, dan kita akan membuat pemeriksaan.
He said this after officiating the Ringlet Fire Station in Cameron Highlands, Pahang.
Well, 4 men arrested on the eve of National Day were today charged at the Kajang Sessions Court over their ties to the Abu Sayyaf militant group. However, no plea was recorded from Hajar Abdul Mubin, 25, and 3 other individuals, Ahmad Omar, 52, Jafar Ahmad, 26, and Abdul Shamir Dabilin, 25, in front of Judge Surita Budin. While Hajar Abdul Mubin, 25, was accused of being a member of the Abu Sayyaf group since 2010 and charged under Section 130KA of the Penal Code Act 574, which is punishable to imprisonment for life and fine. Ahmad Omar, Jafar Ahmad, and Philippine national Abdul Shamir were charged with knowing or having reason to believe that an offense has been or will be committed intentionally and omit to give any information respecting that offense which they are legally bound to give. They are charged under Section 130M, which carries a punishment of imprisonment for a term which may extend to 7 years or with fine or both. Deputy Public Prosecutor Siti Nur Hafizan Zakaria offered no bail as the accused were arrested under the Special Offences or Special Measures Act, SOSMA 2012. Judge Surita Budin fixed October 16 for next mention to transfer the case to the High Court. 2 local suspects, aged 27 years old, faces the death sentence after being caught for owning shabu weighing almost 12 kilograms and over 1,000 ecstasy pills. The seizure, estimated to be at 3.4 million ringgit, was the largest drug seizure made by the Sarawak police today.
Sarawak Deputy Commissioner of Police, Dato Pahlawan Muhammad Zuraidi Ibrahim, said both suspects were apprehended at their house in Jalan Stutong, Kuching on Thursday following 9 months of surveillance.
Kita syak daripada luar negara dan pasaran dadah ni juga kita syak untuk keluar daripada negeri Sarawak. Di sasarannya di negara jiran.
He said this in a press conference held in Kuching today. Both suspects will be investigated under Section 39B and Section 12, Subsection 12 of the Dangerous Drugs Act 1952. Datuk Pahlawan Muhammad Zuraidi said until September this year, a total of 5,012 individuals were arrested in Sarawak for owning drugs compared to 6,147 individuals in 2016.
Pulau Pinang police arrested two siblings in two separate locations for alleged involvement in a syndicate processing drugs and fake medicine. More than 7,000 ecstasy pills, including 2.1 kilograms of ecstasy powder and 1.3 kilograms of caffeine, were seized.
State Deputy Police Chief Dr. Rosli Chik said in the first arrest, the police arrested a woman, aged 44, in a house in Taman Sri Rambai, Bukit Mertajam. Following the woman's arrest, police raided another house believed to be used in processed drugs for the local market.
Rumah kedua tu yang disewa untuk digunakan untuk dijadikan tempat sebagai memproses sebab dia ada mesin-mesin semua kan.
In the second case, a man aged 46 believed to be the brother of the woman arrested was arrested at the Kuala Lumpur International Airport, KLIA2, the following day. The suspects were believed to both have criminal records and were being remanded for 7 days until 28th September. The case is being investigated under Section 39B of the Dangerous Drugs Act 1995.
Well, meanwhile, the Seberang Perai Utara District Police have crippled a drug syndicate with the arrest of a 35-year-old suspect at a housing area in Kuala Muda, Kepala Batas at 4:30 a.m. on Saturday.
The district acting police chief, Abdulaziz Daud, said police who were patrolling the area saw the suspect lingering suspiciously around the housing area while carrying a bag. Police also seized heroin weighing 1.8 grams during the arrest.
Bag pusdada ni, bag celoring ni, dada dia temu dalam ni lah. Daripada pengetahuan kepada orang yang dia tangkap ni lah.
The suspect is reported to have 4 previous drug-related criminal records. The case is being investigated under Section 39B of the Dangerous Drugs Act 1992, which carries a mandatory death sentence if found guilty. The suspect is currently under remand for 7 days to facilitate investigations. 39 individuals between the ages of 16 and 54 years old, including 3 foreigners, were arrested in an integrated operation against gambling in Sarawak last week. Sarawak CID Chief SEC Dato Dev Kumar said they also seized cash worth 5,439 ringgit and various other gambling items such as printing machines, laptops and mobile phones. The case is being investigated under the Open House Gambling Act 1953.
Well, 7 10-ton lorries and 2 trailers belonging to a factory producing boxes in Jalan Bukit Kemuning, Shah Alam were destroyed in a fire early this morning. And Selangor Fire and Rescue Department Operations and Station Chief Ali Madia Bukri said all the vehicles were parked in front of the factory. And according to Ali Madia, the department had received a distress call at 12:54 a.m. and immediately dispatched a team which arrived at the scene 10 minutes later. By that time, the fire was spreading fast on all the vehicles. It was believed that the lorries and trailers were filled with boxes ready for shipment. And the fire and rescue team managed to control the fire at 2:33 a.m., but the fire was only totally doused about 3 hours later. No casualties were reported, while the cause and estimated losses are still being investigated. Kuching International Airport, which was temporarily closed yesterday following an incident involving a Beechcraft light plane that skidded upon landing, has resumed operations. And Kuching International Airport Senior Manager Muhammad Nazmin Hashim, when contacted by RTM, said the airport resumed operations at around 11:45 p.m. yesterday after the aircraft was successfully removed from the runway. Muhammad Nazmin, however, did not disclose the number of flights that were affected by the temporary closure. And yesterday at around 6 p.m., Hornbill Skyways Beechcraft 20 aircraft that was flying from Muka to Kuching skidded when it landed at Kuching International Airport. The aircraft was carrying 7 people, including Sarawak Welfare, Community Wellbeing, Women, Family and Childhood Development Minister, Dato Sri Fatimah Abdullah. However, all passengers, including the crew, managed to get off the plane with no injuries reported. Well, phase 1 of the Bukit Pinang water treatment plant has returned to full operation after being flooded for the past 2 days. And Chief Executive Officer of Syarikat Air Darul Aman, or SADA, Dr. Abdul Ghani Zainuddin said declining water levels have allowed all water pumps at the plant to resume operations since yesterday. And Dr. Abdul Ghani elaborates that consumers would get their water supply back in stages, and previously 30,000 consumers in a few areas in Kota Star district experienced water supply disruption. This was due to the flood that submerged the water pump house at the plant after water levels of Sungai Bukit Pinang sharply increased. And amongst the areas affected include Jalan Hutan Kampung, Pusat Bandar Alostar, Jalan Pegawai and the surrounding areas. In addition, Taman PKNK, Jalan Datuk Kumbar, Jalan Sultanah and also Jalan Stadium also experienced water supply disruption. Well, coming up, Malaysia International Trade and Industry Minister Dato Sri Mustafa Mohamad will lead a 4-day trade and investment mission to Saudi Arabia and Turkey beginning today. The ministry in a statement said that the mission will include Riyadh and Jeddah in Saudi Arabia and Istanbul in Turkey as part of the government's effort to strengthen bilateral economic ties with the country. The programs in Saudi Arabia will include intensive discussions following the various decisions agreed upon by both the government and the private sector during the visit of King Salman Abdulaziz Al Saud to Malaysia in February this year. And meanwhile, in Turkey, Dato Sri Mustafa will meet the country's economic minister to discuss expansion of scope under the Malaysia-Turkey Free Trade Agreement, which was implemented in 2015. Now, Malaysia last year recorded a trade of 13.99 billion ringgit with Saudi Arabia, an increase of 27.8% from 10.95 billion ringgit in 2015. Now, as for Turkey, Malaysia recorded a two-way trade worth 8.42 billion ringgit on 2016, which was an increase of 50.2% from 5.61 billion ringgit in 2015. Indenomics Challenge is a competition that gives an opportunity to young entrepreneurs to expand their business to another level. Now, the contest requires participants to submit a 2-minute creative video about their business, and those shortlisted will have the chance to pitch their ideas in front of judges.
Johor Menteri Besar Dato Muhammad Khalid Noordin said the initiative, which is open to those between 18 to 40, would provide opportunities for young entrepreneurs, as winners of the challenge will be rewarded with financial assistance to further expand their businesses.
Ini satu usaha yang sangat baik, dia memberi keyakinan kepada usahawan-usahawan ini dan sebagai independent ekonomi, kalau kita berikan sokongan sebagainya, kita boleh mantapkan dia dalam perniagaan, dan ini juga menggalakkan kita bangunkan produk-produk hasil keluaran tempatan yang sebenarnya boleh pergi global.
Dato Muhammad Khalid said this after officiating the Indenomics Challenge 2.0 held in Kilang Battery in Johor Bahru, Johor. The second edition of the challenge was jointly organized by the Johor Entrepreneurs Development Center, Johor Islamic Corporation and Kilang Battery.
Well, Malaysia objects to the latest statement given by the ASEAN chair, who did not describe the real situation faced by the ethnic Rohingya in Myanmar. And Foreign Minister Dato Sri Anifah Aman said the statement did not represent Malaysia's position on the Rohingya crisis. Now, the statement issued in New York on Saturday, among others, condemned the Arakan Rohingya Salvation Army, ARSA, and portrayed Myanmar troops as the victims without even a mention of the Myanmar army's brutality against the ethnic Rohingya. According to Dato Sri Anifah, the statement, which claimed that all ASEAN foreign ministers had agreed to it, was not true. Now, he added the statement did not portray the real-life situation in the Rakhine region. The statement was issued after a meeting between ASEAN foreign ministers on the sidelines of the United Nations General Assembly, UNGA.
Ianya jelas, because we do not agree with the statement. Every member state has the right to agree or to disagree. But we disagree in the statement because it does not reflect what really happened on the ground. You see? So we have every right to disagree. So if we disagree, then there's no consensus. So, yeah, even one disagreement. So when there's no consensus, they cannot say that the foreign ministers have agreed. You know? So the chairman can issue a statement separately without quoting that the foreign ministers have expressed concern, the foreign ministers have this, that, because it's not right.
Dato Sri Anifah stressed that Malaysia will continue fighting for the rights of the Rohingya and condemns the brutal ethnic cleansing by the Myanmarese authorities, which had resulted in more than 400,000 fleeing the region so far. He also called upon Myanmar to stop the violence and urged the government to fulfill its commitment to implement the recommendations in the final report of the Rakhine State Advisory Commission. Malaysia had sent humanitarian aid to Bangladesh on September 9th and urged other international communities to do so as well.
Pang cycled his way into the Malaysia Book of Records and created history after completing a 1,712-kilometer solo journey which began from the tip of Sarawak in Sematan to the tip of Sabah in Simpang Menggayau.
The 13-day ride across Sarawak, Brunei and Sabah was part of the Sabah Society for the Blind efforts through the Tour of Hope program to raise 2.9 million ringgit to build 72 hostels for the blind at the Wallace Training Center in Tuaran, Sabah. The funds will be used to provide a more comfortable place for its 500 members to live in while they train to enter the workforce.
Jadi kalau kita tiada perumahan untuk warga buta, bagaimana mereka boleh dapat training? Kalau mereka tidak dapat training, bagaimana mereka boleh berdikari? Mereka boleh bekerja. Jadi ini satu masalah yang besar. Jadi saya gunakan cara saya lah berbasikal untuk create awareness untuk Sabah Society for the Blind.
Louise was met at the closing ceremony of the Tour of Hope program in Simpang Menggayau, Kudat, which was officiated by Tanjung Kapur State Assemblyman Datuk Teo Chikang.
Defending champions Kedah have advanced to the semi-finals of the Malaysia Cup after the second quarter-final match yesterday, and Kedah, who are gunning for their sixth Malaysia Cup title, edged Selangor 1-0 in the second quarter-finals at Darul Aman Stadium, Al Sadd, to progress with a 4-2 aggregate.
The solitary goal was scored by Brazilian Sandro da Silva Mendoca via penalty in the 29th minute. In the first quarter-final match on September 15, Kedah overpowered Selangor 3-2 at Selayang Stadium. Seven-time champions Perak crushed Pahang 4-0 at Perak Stadium in Ipoh to qualify with a 5-3 aggregate. Perak, who lost 1-3 to Pahang in the first quarterfinals at Darul Makmur Stadium in Kuantan on September 16, began the goal galore in the second minute by Brazilian Guilherme da Silva, who netted again in the 63rd minute. Kenny Palraj put the hosts 3 goals up in the 77th minute, while Mohammad Nazrin Nawi made it 4-0 in the 90th minute. At Charlam Stadium, Felda United beat Premier League side PKNP FC 4-1 to qualify on a 5-4 aggregate. Felda United lost 1-3 to PKNP in the first match at Perak Stadium on September 15th. In the match yesterday, Felda United was shocked by import Kim Hyung-woo in the 8th minute before replying with 3 goals in a 10-minute spell via Wanzek Haikal Wanor in the 35th and 44 minutes, as well as Nigerian import Ifedayo Oleksegun Patrick Omosuyi in the 37th minute. Zahrahan Kragar put in the last goal of the 47th minute for Felda United.
On to, in our top story, AG's Chambers receives report on Tafiz fire. Now join us again at 12:30 tomorrow afternoon. I'm Amin Carlos. Stay tuned to TV2 and good night.